The United States was founded on religious freedom, but one study published today shows that attacks on religion have more than doubled in the last 3 years in this country. I'm speaking with Justin Butterfield, one of the authors of this report, which comes from the Liberty Institute in Plano, Texas. Now, Justin, your report documents what you call religious hostility. Would you define that for me and tell me what kinds of attacks on religion are you documenting?
Sure. So what we've done is we've gone through newspapers, case filings, any source of information we can find, and we've documented instances where people have been persecuted for their religious faith or discriminated against because of their faith. And, it's something that so many people think happens in China, in North Korea, in Saudi Arabia, but they don't realize that it's happening right here in the United States more and more each day. So we created this document to really just document all of the incidents of hostility to religion that occur right here in the United States so that people will understand, A, that it happens here, and B, that what they can do about it. They can stand up and fight when they're persecuted for their religious beliefs, and that we have good laws in this country that protect Americans from religious discrimination. Just so many people don't know about those, and don't know what they can do when they face these situations.
In other countries, people are being outright slaughtered by extremist groups, and in China, the Catholic Church is very much repressed there. How does this situation of religious freedom compare in the United States? What are you seeing? Who are the instigators of attacks on religious freedom?
That's right. So the attacks in the United States are usually not as violent as they are in other countries, but what we see a lot of are legal attacks and discrimination like that. So, for instance, we have recently seen many churches who are being kicked out of their property. We've seen people who are being fined for their religious beliefs. We even, perhaps most egregiously, recently saw the government argue in a legal brief that they filed with the Supreme Court that churches and religious organizations should not be able to select their own ministers, that the government should be able to control that and should be able to, for instance, tell the Catholic Church that they cannot have only male priests, that they should be able to should be forced to hire female priests. That's the sort of attacks that we're seeing here in the United States today. Stuff that was unthinkable even 5 or 10 years ago.
And have you looked at hostility to faiths other than Christianity? And is there any comparison between the ways different faiths are treated in our country that in your report?
We have looked at other faiths as well. The vast majority of the incidents are attacks on Christians, but there is, for instance, just in the past couple of years, a synagogue in North Dallas that the Homeowners Association was trying to kick out. And because Orthodox Jewish communities have to live within walking distance of where they meet, if they were banned from meeting near their homes, it would have effectively stopped all Orthodox Jewish religious practice in that community. We see it among all different religions, and while the vast majority are Christian, they're certainly not all Christian.
What are the reasons you've found for this increase? Is there one particular factor or instigator that you look at in this report that's really dominating the way this trend has been going in the last 3 years?
One thing that's really affected this is that there's so much misinformation out there now. Groups like the Freedom from Religion Foundation send out thousands of letters each year to, for instance, school districts, government officials, employers that are really just misinforming these groups about what the law is. And so a school district gets one of these letters from the Freedom from Religion Foundation, and they think, we have to take these steps to scrub our district of religion, and that's just not true. And they then get in trouble when they discriminate against a religious group or people of faith. And so one of the things that we hope this document does is educate people in positions of authority, the employers, the school officials, the government officials, so that they will know what they can and can't do, and they won't just buy into the misinformation that's out there, but that they'll realize that discriminating against people of faith is a violation of the Constitution, and that the Constitution does not require the removal of all faith from the public sphere.
Well, it's a very distressing report. Are there any signs of hope that more religious freedom can open up after this decline we've seen?
While attacks are on the rise, the report actually gives me a lot of hope, because when people stand up for their religious liberty rights, they win. When the government argued that they could regulate who was hired as a minister, the Supreme Court unanimously rejected that argument. It was unfortunate that the government made that argument, but the Supreme Supreme Court did the right thing in that case. And when people stand up for their rights, they win. So we're hoping that this will educate people so that they will be willing to stand up, not only for themselves when they're persecuted, but for people who come after them, set good precedents so that we can continue to defend and restore religious freedom in the United States.
Well, thank you very much for speaking with me, Justin. I thank you for this report. We hope to check in with you again about religious freedom, and we really do hope, as our viewers hope, that the situation will be improved next time. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for having me.